Are you trying to keep your appetite in check through willpower? Let's face it, this approach is doable, but difficult. Generally speaking, you can keep it going for a while, maybe long enough to fit into that special dress for a significant occasion. But overriding your body's hunger drive using psychology is hard work and probably doomed to eventual failure. This is why yo-yo dieting is the norm, not the exception, and why you want to use biology to keep your appetite in check. Now, you may have noticed that when you have egg on toast for breakfast, you can more often than not keep going till lunchtime. But a huge bowl of cereal often leaves you with the mid-morning munchies. So, what is behind the I am full message that accompanies protein dinners? Some years ago, a team of French scientists figured out how proteins do this and more. The more is particularly relevant to you if you're insulin resistant. It involves putting the brake on hepatic gluconeogenesis, something that's not happening quite the way that it should when you're insulin resistant. Now, insulin is typically blamed for the problem, but the fundamental reason why metabolically broken people can't regulate sugar levels very well is the liver producing sugar when it shouldn't. Join us with this episode of Better Body Chemistry TV as we probe why protein is so satisfying and helpful if you're metabolically challenged. Better Body Chemistry TV is brought to you by Dr. Sandy, a scientist turned gremlin buster, helping you battle sugar gremlins, heifer lumps, and other health horribles through better body chemistry. Remember, small things can make a big difference to your health. Now, the story starts with your mores. Protein dinners interfere with more signaling. So, what are mores? Well, more may look a lot like more, but I didn't accidentally leave off the E. More is a shorthand way of referring to the mu opioid receptors. Now, ironically, the more receptors do actually work like a more switch. When they get triggered by endorphins, these are your body's own opioids. You typically want to eat more. Surprised? Well, opioids are normally associated with happy head feelings, not gut feelings. Think heroin and morphine. But it turns out Mother Nature includes more receptors in a variety of spots around the body. The spot that is triggering the more eating is a set of more receptors lining the major blood vessel known as the hepatic portal vein. The hepatic portal vein is responsible for transporting the nutrients and things that have been fished out of the intestine to the liver. The liver then cooks up a storm and dishes out the nutrients to the rest of the body. Now, when proteins such as meat, milk, and eggs are digested, they get broken down into smallish bits of protein. These are referred to as peptides. As these peptides make their way from the intestine to the liver via the hepatic portal vein, they encounter the more receptors, which are embedded in the portal vein wall. Now it turns out some of them slip inside the nooks and crannies of the more receptors. Their presence is duly noted by the more receptors, but the more receptors don't get upset. Who does get upset are the endogenous opioids that are being produced by gut neurons and endocrine cells. The tiny little peptides end up jamming the receptor, making it impossible for your endogenous opioids to do their job. So, what is their job? Well, officially, they control gut motility and secretions. Generally speaking, they slow things down. inhibiting gastric emptying, blocking peristalsis, and inhibiting iron and fluid secretion. This is why people who take opioids to relieve pain often end up with serious constipation, which is very difficult to relieve because the tools of the laxative trade don't work. On the flip side, it works like a charm when you have the runs, but that's a story for another day. We're interested in what happens to the signaling being sent from the gut to the brain. Well, it doesn't happen when the maws are being jammed by the little peptides. With the maws not sending a signal to the brain demanding more to eat, the hunger neurons get to take a load off, while the satiety neurons do their thing. As long as these peptides are interfering with more activity, you will feel pretty full, but they don't stay there indefinitely. Now, the Moore story came to light years ago when the research team genetically tinkered with mice so that they were missing Moores. The Moore minus mice showed no signs of feeling full following a high protein meal. But the team has been studying Moores since then, and they've now implicated the Moores in the miracle of bariatric surgery. I'll share more on this in an upcoming video. Since human Moores are a lot like mouse Moores, it's likely the inhibition of Moores is one of the things contributing to humans feeling full following a protein meal. So to keep a check on your appetite, you want to jam your Moores more often than not. And at the same time, get the benefit of switching the sugar production machine in the liver off. Downgrading hepatic gluconeogenesis cuts insulin some slack. When he springs into action, the only glucose that he has to deal with is the glucose that you just ate. And this minimizes postprandial sugar spikes, making everyone a little happier. Until next time round. Now, you can block those Moores with meds, such as naloxone, which is an opioid antagonist. That means it binds to the receptor, but it doesn't produce an effect. These drugs are usually used to help people dealing with an opioid crisis. But in the dark underworld, they're also used as appetite suppressants. But you don't need drugs to do this. Just make sure when you load up your plate, you include a healthy dollop of protein. That is, you obey the rule of thirds. Now, maybe you already do this at dinner time, but to really get the benefit, you want to apply this principle every time you eat. Breakfast, lunch, and in betweens, especially if you are metabolically challenged. Now, talking about in betweens, the added benefit of including protein in your snacks is that if you're feeling flat, munching a bit of protein will also ring the brain's alarm clock. Watch this video to learn more about the 2-for-1 deal. Better brain chemistry and better body chemistry at the same time. For more ideas and strategies to fix your body chemistry, visit our website at www.betterbodychemistry.com. Browse our library, and whilst you're there, take a moment to join the Better Body Chemistry community. It's a place where you can do more than just learn about ways to improve your body chemistry, but actually do it. In the Body Chemistry Playground, you can get your questions answered, get feedback, and be held accountable while you figure out what works for you. At Better Body Chemistry, the tips and strategies are simple to implement and based on real science, not hype. Know someone who is metabolically challenged? Share this video with them so they know how to strategically jam their Moores to minimize sugar spikes. And if this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you catch future episodes of Better Body Chemistry TV. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Remember, small things can make a big difference to your health.